Okay, so welcome again to this workshop for follower cities. My name is Marie Kleeschulter. I work at Climate Alliance. As you see in my name, Climate Alliance is also a SCORE partner in the SCORE project. And I think most of you have either seen me or seen my name in the invitation mail at least. We are, as a partner, let's say, responsible for the coordination of the follower cities together with EUV and also some other SCORE partners. Yeah, so most of you maybe know each other from the last seminar where we presented the pilots. We heard about Essen and Val Sousa and a little bit about the Czech situation. But maybe we can make a very, very short introduction round now, because I think there are some new pilots here or some new people, not pilots, follower cities or potential follower cities, let's say, interested actors, to make just a very, very, very short introduction. Just maybe say your name and where you're from, so that we can know who's here with us today. Isabel, if you want to start.
Yes, hello, I'm Isabel. I'm from CO2 Online. We are also a SCORE partner responsible for dissemination of the project. And yeah, I'm really happy to meet you all here. Looking forward to the workshop today.
Thank you. Anna, do you want to continue?
Hello, good morning. My name is Ana Rita Antunes. I work in Copernico. It's the first and the only one renewable cooperative of energy in Portugal. And I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you too. João?
Yeah, good morning. My name is João Dinis, and I'm from the Cascais municipality, also from Portugal. And I work in the Sustainable and Climate Action Department.
Great, thank you. Edward? Sorry.
Yes, thank you. My name is Edward Weening. I live in a small village, Heten, in the Netherlands. Normally, during the day, I work for Thales as an engineering manager. But at night and in the weekend, I'm the chairman of the energy corporation cooperative Endona.
Perfect, thank you. And then we have someone from Słupsk here. Could you remind me of your name again? Sorry.
Yes, hello. My name is Piotr Lidzbarski. I'm responsible for the electricity sector, energy sector in the Wodociągi Słupsk, which is the company responsible for the water and sewage in the Słupsk city in Poland.
Perfect, thank you, Piotr. Great. Alex?
Hi, I'm Alex West. I work with the Viadrina University and Dr. Lovich, and we're responsible for implementing the project. And I'm from the United States, but currently studying and based in Germany.
Thanks a lot. Moving on to your colleague, Agnieszka. Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong.
Yeah, it's perfect. My name is Agnieszka. Welcome all of you. I am just recently joined the project from the behalf of University Viadrina, and as a assistant as well to the project carried on by the university and working with Professor Levich in Germany, but I am located in Poland, and I'm there also to support the project from the linguistic point of view, as I also could support it from, I also speak Italian, so that will be it.
Great. All our pilots. Amazing. Jayesh, to you.
Hello, good morning, everyone. My name is Jayesh de Silva, and I'm representing the Vega, the Valcarce renewable energy community, which is based in Northwest Spain today. And we are a follower city. Recently, we joined as a follower city to the SCORE group. So really looking forward to our second workshop today, and hopefully get some time to present our project as well to you later on.
For sure, thank you. Sarah, to you. Are you muted?
I'm sorry. Okay, good morning, everybody. My name is Sara. I work at Politechnico University of Turin, and we are one of the pilot case studies in Valle Susa in Italy as a part of the SCORE project. Thank you.
Great. Stefan?
Oh, yes. Hi, my name is Stefan Plage. I'm from the city of Essen, from the municipality. And first we have started also as a follower city, but nowadays we are a pilot city. And we are on our final phase to realize the SCORE project in Essen, to finish it, so to speak, the first pilot. Yeah, and it's nice to see you.
Great. And then last but not least, Rosan.
Hi, I'm Rosan. I'm currently a master's student at the University of Twente, and I will be researching the Endona project together with Dr. Lovic.
Great, thank you. And I think we were just joined, if he's here now, also from Miroslav, our colleague in Prague, the next pilot. Okay, maybe just one more information before we start with the input from the follower cities. So each of you will have 10 minutes to present the activities around energy communities, around renewables and the involvement of consumers to the others. So I'd like to ask you to stick to these 10 minutes because we have quite a full schedule and to give everyone the possibility to present. There are still, let's say, coming a few other, we'll have a few other follow cities as well. Maliona Alpi is still joining from Italy, and then we'll have also someone from the Czech Republic, from Frank Bolt, presenting the case of the Czech follower cities. So they are still coming. I'd say we'd just dive into it. I'm sure Mr. Lovic is on his way, and he knows also a little bit about the Cascais case. So I'd ask João to just start presenting his municipality and his case. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to share my screen. I think you already see it.
Yeah, we see it. We see the full PowerPoint.
Okay. Yeah, great. So I'll be as quick as I can. Well, first of all, a quick presentation of Cascais, or what we are and where we are. We are located in the outer skirts of the Lisbon metropolitan region. And we are a very touristic destination, as our landscape shows it. And we are already facing a few of the well-known climate impacts, and we're striving to find solutions for all of this, both on adaptation and mitigation. And so for that, we've been working for at least the last decade in climate change. So we've been working on the strategic plan since 2009. Then we moved on to the climate change adaptation action plan, which was in 2017. So this is an action plan with a defined budget and defined lines of action. And also with the Sustainable Development Goals, which leads us together with a sustainable approach, not only on climate adaptation, but also mitigation and at city level. So we've been trying to figure it out, how to implement these sort of policies all around our town hall. And finally, but not least at all, we are now, well, it's over, it's finalized already. It's the carbon neutrality route 2050, which is a commitment that was signed in 2023, and and on the 23rd of March, so 2 days ago, by the municipal assembly. And what we got was actually a round of applause, because it was quite a commitment that we took on ourselves to be the first municipality in Portugal to live this way. So just a few images of what we are doing. We're building something that goes from urban planning, sustainable urban planning, climate adaptation on our green spaces, on our urban development, trying to promote biodiversity, working together with the civil protection as much as we can, make sure that we act preventively to some of these challenges, and working together with Climate Alliance, for example, with lots of European partners to make sure that we are eligible to these sort of projects like SCORE or like that. So, like I said before, well, climate action is quite a transversal scope of action, and we need quite the interaction with everybody, from citizens to stakeholders. And this is to make sure that we all understand that we need to reduce our emission scope, both individually, family, company, and as a municipality as a whole, and contributing for the national level as well. So this is quite a transformation for us all, and where, well, it's an ambition that we try to reach out with, well, innovative actions. So basically, as you can see from the graphics that I've shown you, most of our emissions are related to transportation, but also to household emissions. So that's 25%, nearly a quarter. And so we, according to the index of Pareto, we should definitely act on transportation and household emissions. So that's what we're trying to do. So we foresee on that graph underneath, we foresee that we might be able to reach a stabilization on 2030 with the ongoing activities that we're already doing, but we need to go further if we want to reach carbon neutrality. So that's what we call the yellow jersey scenario, and that's exactly what we're trying to do. So on transportation, like I said, which is the biggest emitter in Cascais, we are promoting what is the first Portuguese public transportation that is free for everyone. You only have to pay nearly a card upload, which costs €7 per year, so that's basically free. And it does integrate with bicycle sharing and other parking transportation. So you have intermobility, and we actually promote actively public transportation. We have charging spots that we can use already in this Movi Cascais program, and you can get points through a gamification app that we have in our cell phone. So we're already trying to promote car sharing solutions, no pollution zones. We're studying that already, and we are testing some innovative, let's call it fiscal benefits for all those that try to use the car or not use the car, or use the bike instead of the car, or use the public transportation for local commutes. So we are already trying to bridge the gap between stakeholders and citizens, and we try to get and grab with our hands those early developers. We're trying to use positive feedback. So positive feedback means that we're trying to give you something. We're not going to punish you because you use your car. We're going to give you incentives because you use your public transportation. And this line of thinking makes a really big difference. We must try to give tangible results. So if you get on a bus, if you have more bus mileage, if you have easier parking on the train station, that is a tangible effect that you have on people. And we also need to make sure that we engage with the citizens and with the stakeholders, so we can foment early adoption once again and make sure there's no problems or no challenges in arising questions, because these are new models of management, so it's quite a challenge. So for energy communities, we're trying to, well, as you know, we recently won the European City Facility grant, because we're trying to promote by the end of the year energy communities in Cascais. So we're trying to do a broad regulation, and you can then adapt according to the needs of the partners. So it can take many shapes. We are trying to get private partners on board. We're trying to get families on board. And Rita knows this well. She's a cooperative of energy. Cooperatives are a very useful form of energy communities. We're trying to see if energy storage is a solution or not, if there's any benefit, or if we can guide that energy directly from buildings, for example, to charging points, because electric mobility is going to increase significantly the demand of energy. And so we're trying to assess everything that is going on now, and we're trying to develop a pilot by the end of the year. And we want to be probably one of the first case studies in Portugal for energy community. There's one in Srytr, which is the photo you see above, but I consider that cheating because they are a gated community. So it's not really different neighbors and different households altogether. So why are we doing this? Because in our carbon neutrality plan, we really need to reduce our emissions from 530 kilotons to 50 kilotons of CO2 emissions. And this is a long, big commitment that we need to make. So regarding exactly our commitments towards Paris Agreement, towards the Sustainable Development Goals, we really need to tackle this subject with quite a strong emphasis on tangible results, like I've mentioned before. So we have a few measures, a few sectors that we're trying to implement. Like I said, transportation. We also need some actions on waste and water, forest and soil use for carbon sequestration. But let's focus on what we are talking today, which is stationary energy, namely the promotion of renewable energy sources, energy efficient, and electrification of our mobility as well, and also our households, for example, for heating waters and so on. So one of the things that we're trying to do on that sector is exactly we want to produce 184 megawatts of solar energy through these energy communities. So it's a significant leap. If we're standing today, 184 megawatts it's quite significant, but we want to make sure that we reach this goal in 20, 30 years. So for that, we're going to have a market analysis. So we have to engage with all the stakeholders and make sure that we understand what's the technology, what are the systems, and what are the guidelines for technology, but also for regulation. So regulation for us, and this is a very personal perspective, is a big challenge because the regulation that is out is extremely complex. It opens quite a few doors, but never opens it fully. So there's like halfway in between, and we must understand how exactly are we going to talk to a family that should commit into, for example, a cooperative model, and they must be there for 10, 15 years to pay a given fee for the kilowatt that they consume. So this is quite a challenge, and this is something that we are working with citizens to make sure that they understand what are the benefits or not. And for this, we also have a few benchmark analysis on what's going on. So SCORE is very useful for us because you have some innovators here as well, and we wish to learn from them and to implement that information in our pilot project that we are estimating to be completed by the end of the year. And it's around 0.5 megawatt power. So we, like I said, we try to mobilize stakeholders and citizens. We try to further cooperation and workflows. For example, we need to assess is the technical staff from the town hall and the project managers from urban development, are they really aware of what it takes to have, for example, a pre-installation of solar power? Are they aware to estimate the solar power production that is needed for a household with a given area? For example, 100 square meters, how much with a classification of A+, how much solar power should you have in your house, for example? For 3 people, 4 people, for example, allocating that for the number of bedrooms that you have. So this is something that we are working on already. We have to adapt our planning policies to the energy community policies, and that's quite a significant challenge. So not only, I would not focus as much on technology, but focus more on regulation and business models. So this is our challenge right now. We want to share this with everybody because we are going to make quite a few mistakes, and we're going to fall on our hands for quite some times, but we need to understand that way or not. So we want to produce yearly 213 gigawatts hour of through renewable energy sources. We estimate that this action alone contributes to saving more than 60,000 tons of CO2 per year. And we want to make sure that, well, since we are pioneering, that we organize workshops, that we fund the debate, that we bring stakeholders, that we connect consumers to producers. And we have all these merged together in a very productive atmosphere here in Cascais. And we hope to do it, like I said, by the end of the summer. So we have a first pilot by the end of the year, and hopefully an energy store where people can visit and understand exactly what they're going through. So if I want to implement this, if I want to be part of an energy community, what should I do? What should I adapt my household? What should I consider? Should I store or not? What type of technology is there? So there's and metering and smart metering is there. Can I use my phone to understand if I'm over consuming or not? So all these questions is something that we have to line up to each other and make sure that we have a painting, a nice painting for everybody.
Okay, thank you, João. Are you?
Yeah, this is the last slide. Okay. Like, yeah, but it's very, so basically just to make sure that well, we are trying to grasp these opportunities. We're trying to engage within the scope of our commitments, and we are trying to engage with the scope of replication. So if someone has done it, we want to copy. We want to copy what went right, not what went wrong. And since we're pioneering this in Portugal, we want to make sure that others know what went right and wrong as well. So basically that's it.
Great, thank you. Yeah, our next speaker, and we will hear two speakers, and then we will discuss together a little bit what we heard, address a few questions. So our next speaker is Jan from Frank Bolt, and he will give us some insights into the becoming new follower city, Doubrava.
Hello, everybody. Do you hear me well?
Yeah.
Okay, good. It's nice to meet you. So let me introduce quite a recent project here in the Czech Republic. So first, my apologies because the information I will be providing are not that deep because we started really recently with the project. So I'll start. Do you see the presentation or not?
We see it, but you're not in presentation mode. So we see.
Okay. Let me shift to presentation. It's not working actually.
Yeah, don't worry.
Okay.
We see it well.
Now it should be okay. So what we are talking about is a small municipality in the North Moravian part of the northeastern part of the Czech Republic, which is the region very affected by the coal mining that is being closed during the last couple of years. So it's a region which is let's say in the process of transformation. The municipality of Doubrava is really at the edge of the mining area. There is about like 1,300 people living there. And it has some specifics because the buildings are very scarce and it's not really dense area, and there is let's say a joint effort by the regional authority and a couple of mayors in the region to let's say find out what are the opportunities for the municipalities there to switch to, let's say, more renewable future or more green technologies. But at the same time, these are really small municipalities, so they don't know much about them. They are really at the beginning of the whole process. So what we agreed with them is that we will first initiate kind of first analysis of what can be done in Doubrava and how they can let's say engage the people living there in the project. I must say that that the opportunities are quite difficult because there are generally only like 2 suitable buildings there that we can start with. But what is interesting is that there are quite huge opportunities for financing the projects because just recently in the Czech Republic the process of, let's say, distribution of money from so-called modernization fund has started, and major part will go to building of new renewable sources, and also municipalities can ask for subsidy from this source. So let's say the money are there, and the financing will not be that big problem in case the projects will be well prepared and let's say administered. So that's the situation that we are now. So the municipality knows that there are some money available for investing into energy projects. They are interested in to listen to, let's say, options for them, how to approach, and there are a couple of, let's say, where we can start. So we discussed with the council of Doubrava a couple of times. They decided that they tried to start with 2 buildings. One is a nursery school and second is elementary school. You can see it on the map that they are quite remote, and also there is limited potential in terms of, let's say, linking the PV plants into some grid solution. I mean hardware grid solution with the other points of areas where the production can be consumed. But we are still scoping on that, what is possible and what is not. And there is one interesting point that very close to the buildings there is a it's called Finnish houses, which is like formerly a residential area for miners. A lot of individual houses where mostly like rather social excluded people live. So and all these houses are owned by one owner, actually one company, Swedish company. So one of the options that we will be also working on is to, let's say, find out whether there could be some potential for cooperation between the municipality and the Swedish company owning the residential area into forming some kind of energy community that would involve the whole area, where the municipality or maybe also the private investor will invest into energy sources and operation of the sources for the people living in the area, as well as for the municipality itself. But again, it's the initial idea. We don't have answers yet. As you can see, the potential is not very big, speaking only about these 2 buildings that are available for the initial analysis first. So the nursery school, we are thinking or calculating with, let's say, around 20 kilowatt peaks installed on the roof. The second building, here you can see some first calculations, but you know, these are rather technical things. As you can see that the consumption of the production is rather limited, but again, there might be a bigger potential once we will involve some other places or even the residential area involved there. This is what I already mentioned. On the left picture, you can see the residential area that I was mentioning. This old like miners area where there is a lot of houses quite close to the municipal buildings. Here you can see some real photo of how it look like. So it's just like small houses where usually are 3 flats, and so quite interesting in terms of application of PV. Basically, that's where we are now. So we have 2 buildings. We have the initial analysis done about what is the potential of installation of photovoltaics on these buildings. We have some ideas how to scope more on, let's say, the grid integration, and we identified some potential for, let's say, involving the people into some kind of into specific energy community. And after we finish all this analysis, we will again start the communication with the municipal authority and we will try to convince them to go, let's say, not business as usual way, just to install the PVs, but rather to think about putting it more, let's say, community power grounds, as we are all discussing now. There are some major thresholds that I believe that most of you are somehow struggling with, and these all are also very much related to the regulation, because right now there is no scheme that can be applied easily on, let's say, sharing electricity between the members of the energy community. You either have to be a licensed energy trader, or you have to have your own microgrid. So it's either technical solution or very complex and costly administrative solution. Currently, a new energy law is being discussed in the parliament. We are working on that in the working group related to the community power. So it seems that, let's say, in the matter of a couple of years, the new scheme should arise from the new legislation that should allow some kind of virtualization of individual energy consumers into one, let's say, consumer that would have some that would have some rights and that could play some role in the energy market, exactly in the way how it is envisioned by the EU regulation. But currently the situation is not there yet. So technically, you are not allowed to simply share electricity between different places if you are not energy trader. So that's one of the other options that we are working on, that to involve some, let's say, progressive energy traders in the Czech Republic, although there is maybe one, and let's say establish such scheme already under the current regulation conditions. But again, it's at the very beginning. So I mean, that's basically it. There are more municipalities in the same region. Or the other one is Orlova, which is a couple of kilometers east, and the situation is more or less the same. That there is a couple of buildings that the municipality decided to invest in let's say, scoping of the situation and the options for establishing the energy community. And our task now is to find, let's say, viable solution under the current administrative condition, as well as to indicate where the whole situation could develop for the municipality, and convince them that they should open the option of let's say, community-based let's say, power investments for the directly to inhabitants, to the municipality, as well as the private owners or private investors that are around. And what is the big advantage, and I already mentioned it earlier, is that there is a lot of money available for such kind of projects that will be available during the next 10 years. And I believe that this will somehow help to shift the situation a little bit in the Czech Republic towards the, let's say, more consumers involving solutions, because simply the money will be dedicated for it. So yeah, I have not much details because we technically started last week with the project where the council agreed to become a partner city. So I believe that during that if we if we will have some other options to discuss these projects, I could be more specific and provide some more specific results as well as plans. But that's not the situation now. So.
Sure, no problem. And this was already, I think, quite interesting. And also, I think it touches a lot of points that other follower cities are also dealing with. So we have a few minutes for questions and comments to both João and Jan. Jan, I know you have to leave soon, but yeah, surely people can reach you as well.
Sure.
Via us. But are there any comments to the Cascais case maybe, or other comments from Prague regarding the Czech Republic maybe? I don't know.
Hi, thank you very much for the two presentations. I just wondered how easy or difficult was it for these two projects to gather data in terms of energy usage, so that you can start modeling the system requirements to match, so that you maximize self-consumption, etc.
Should I start?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Okay, yeah. So it was fairly easy to analyze our patterns of consumption. Not only we have contracted power information, the monthly consumption, and also smart metering systems that allow us to have analysis on the peaks of consumption and so on. So we have the demand duly assessed. It's just a matter now of seeing if we are able to provide self-sufficiency according to that demand. So that's the only challenge that we are facing, because we need to understand if we have available area for solar panels for that self-sufficiency. And yeah, basically that's it.
Yeah, it's a bit different with us, because we have, it was not difficult to get consumption, the data on consumption in buildings. But as you know, this is really basics, right? If you want to model some real or expected self-consumption, you need much more detailed data. Ideally, you need some metering being done, based on 15 minutes intervals, etc. So that's what we don't have. So we've been using some, let's say, experience as well as diagrams that are available and that we already possess from other projects. The other issue is roofs, because also typically you have some technical issues with roofs all the time, starting with the protection, lightning protection, and the statics issue. So that's what we have to let's say find out by ourselves, and the municipalities don't have any specific data on that at all. So yeah, it is challenging. It is even challenging to explain, because these are small municipalities, only a couple of people there actually. So it is even difficult to explain what we especially want and to get it. So, but at the same time, this makes it also interesting, and we will see when we will start to discuss with this Swedish company, and when we will try to dig into data that are not related only to the buildings that are available, it will be maybe more difficult. But yeah, that's something you can overcome with the good modeling system. We are using PVSol, for example. We have some diagrams, we have some experience from other installations. So there is a way how you can get to some viable solution.
Thank you very much, Jan and João.
Is there maybe some other experiences on using this the public grid, or any other? Yeah, how is it in? I think in Portugal this is also probably a problem or something that you're facing at the moment.
Yeah, that's the problem. I wouldn't say that it's much technical. It's more of regulation. According to the new law for energy communities, we can use the public grid to transport the energy that is produced among the citizens from the same community. but we can have a lot of power injected into it, and we don't know how much is too much power, and we don't know. We know the distance, for example, we can go for a different municipality for 10 kilometers, but if the municipality has 30 kilometers, the energy community can be within those borders. But I cannot inject, I don't know, 15 or 50 kilowatts power on the public grid. How can I do that? It's something that we are really unaware of, and maybe Rita can help me on this, but there's not really anyone that I can pick up the phone and call them or send them an email and ask them, how much power can we inject? Because that's the only main challenge that we have technically. Because if we have to do a secondary distribution network, it will significantly increase the costs for energy.
Yeah, and yeah, concerning Czech Republic, here it is much more difficult because we are facing first that the legislation and regulation in general is not prepared for electricity sharing and like community power in general, and we are facing the hostile approach of distribution companies, of course, because it's kind of challenge for the status quo where they have a practical monopoly on the area. So any new approach that somehow opens the grid to other participants and players is generally not very warmly welcomed by the distribution companies. Even in the, for example, in the working groups concerning the new energy law, there is this hostile approach. Very, let's say, we can really feel that they are not happy about that. So we simply decided to, we have developed a couple of schemes that we can use based on the current regulation. More or less, it's first either technical solution, which means that you are simply joining the places into one place in terms of the grid. So you can use it. You can do it either via joining consumption from, for example, more flats into one electricity meter, or on the bigger scale, you can use the transformation stations and connect the whole. So that's the way how we approach it technically. There's a couple of projects where we already tried. And the other is, let's say, administrative way, which is that you need an electricity trader, which is, to become electricity trader, it's quite costly because there is a lot of costs that you have to spend on simply having a license and etc. So that's the other way how you can approach it in the Czech Republic. But generally speaking, the community power is non-existing concept in terms of the legislation so far. Okay, so but it will be changing. I have to leave. So it was short, but thank you very much for having the opportunity to talk to you. So I hope that we will meet next time. Okay.
Thanks. Take care.
Bye bye.
Anna-Rita, you wanted to say something, I think, to.
Yes, I can add. My daughter is next to me having a class, so maybe I can. Sorry for the noise. Maybe I can speak in next round if you don't mind. Thank you. I will be here until the end.
Perfect. Yeah, I think the agenda even foresees a short coffee break now before we go into the introduction of the next case. I think the next on the agenda is Vega de Valcarce. So we'll have a few minutes of break. I hope it's fine if we meet here in 7 minutes, 5 to 11 at my time, let's say. Okay, so see you back at 55 for the next short round. See you. Let's move on. I'm starting the recording again. Jayesh, if you would like to share your screen and present us some details about Vega de Valcarce.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
Oh, and just sorry, one word. While we were on the break, Sergio Olivero joined us from Magliano Alpi, who will give us the next short introduction. So hi. Okay, Jayesh.
Great. Thank you so much for your invitation to present our project in the, and this project is in Vega de Valcarce. It's a renewable energy community that we want to set up. So we are at the planning stages, and Maria would have loved to also present partly the presentation, but she had to join another workshop today. So it'll be my voice right through. Also just to introduce, we also set up a not-for-profit association called Revival in order to coordinate this project in Vega de Valcarce. So as I go through the presentation, if you have any questions, feel free to ask later on. And if you have any further questions, please get in touch with us. We also would love to find new collaboration partners to help this project. And so you can contact us through our email addresses here, or also through our website, revival.org. I'm following the agenda in line with the setup that Mary shared with us earlier. So I'll do a project introduction and then follow on from there, the key questions that were raised in the questionnaire for each of the villages. Okay, so the location, as you can see, this is a picture of Vega de Valcarce. Vega de Valcarce is a municipality in the northwest area of Spain, and it has 23 pueblos, villages. Total population is about 660 people. So these are areas which have lost a lot of its population over the years. In 1960s, I believe the population was around 4,000. Now it's down to 660. And the main project, the initial pilot scale project that we are intending to do is in the main village of these 23 villages, which also happens to be called Vega de Valcarce. And this picture is of that particular village. And you can see where, even though the populations are small, in these villages, the population is quite concentrated in a central location. And the area we want to do the rooftop PV project, if I can show you on the screen, is with a pointer, I'll try to point it, this blue building on the rooftop of that blue building, which is the school flat roof school sports hall building. And so there's a mixture of houses here, apartments and single-story buildings and businesses. Also, this is the way to the Camino de Santiago, which is a very popular pilgrims route. So during the summer months and spring, there's a lot more influx of people from outside as well. So, there is also the nursing home buildings, the pilgrims rest, hotels and restaurants along the way. And also it happens that there is a river running through the village. So in future scaling up of these projects, we could also tap into things like mini hydro, but at this stage we are looking at a rooftop PV project to start off with. And this is the same village area from a two-dimensional picture from above. And you can see circled here that blue roof, which is the school roof. And so this will be a roof-mounted PV project at the initial stage at 30 kilowatts. Within the current legislation in the Spanish law for self-consumption of community energy self-consumption, there are a couple of restrictions that they have put in terms of the size of the system. So any individual system cannot be more than 100 kilowatt. And we have done a desktop assessment of the roof, and we feel that you can do 100 kilowatts on that roof easily. And another restriction that they have placed is any individual system cannot share its energy more than 500 meter diameter from the system. And all the buildings in this picture are within 500-meter radius from this roof. In terms of the installation, so we are looking at a 30 kilowatt system. The generation per year in this area, the solar resource is around, oops, oh, what is going on? Excuse me. Is about 30 kilowatts, produces about 39,000 kilowatt hours a year. We would like to consider heat pumps and electric vehicle charging points as well. So we haven't looked at an assessment of it as yet, because the idea is try to consume as much as possible locally and export as little as possible to the grid. Most buildings in Spain have smart meters rolled out. The municipal building has about 13 smart meters. At this point in time, there aren't any community residential scale renewable energy systems existing in the village. In terms of usage, the way we want to go ahead with this project is do peer-to-peer trading within the community. And any excess we sell to the grid, but we want to limit it as possible because it's only a net billing scheme that is offered at the moment. For a 30 kilowatt scale project, we think you would need a couple of municipal buildings. So the main municipal building in Vega de Valcarce, the school, about 15 households and about 3 businesses. There was a question in the questionnaire about the energy consumption prices at the moment. So what's important here is the variable energy, because the fixed you cannot impact by providing local energy. So the local energy can only offset the variable portion of the energy bill. And that variable portion is between 17 cents per kilowatt hour and 21 cents per kilowatt hour at peak tariff, for depending on commercial and residential, as you can see. And because we are doing solar PV without any storage, the daytime electricity that we can target is about 80,000 kilowatt hours. But because of the load profiles that you would expect in during the day and the solar PV profiles, our desktop study suggests about, we could target about 35,000 kilowatt hours a year of that from a 30 kilowatt system. Consumer involvement is a very important part of the process. And so we need to get the municipality, we have a very close partnership with and is very interested. We also need to get households and businesses involved for it to be really successful. And in order to do that, we've done workshops with the community and they've been very positive. But we want to continue to improve that engagement. And we plan to do that engagement through further workshops. So we hope to have another workshop in September, COVID permitting. And we would do feedback from questionnaires and surveys to gather the energy usage and what people want from these questionnaires. And we would like to use methodologies to problem structuring, engagement, and evaluate the results. And for these specialist areas, we are also looking at different partners. So far, we have the following partners that are working with us. So the SCORE group, obviously, we are working with them on the consumer stock ownership plan model to see how we can structure the renewable energy community. Also, we are looking at the University of Brussels to help us with the energy modeling. So we try to gather the data from the smart meters and analyze this data. And also they are willing to help us with the problem structuring and engagement analysis, but we would be looking at other partners as well. So feel free to get in touch with us. We would love to hear from you to see how we can look at ways of getting this engagement and asking the right questions from the community. And we also have some local partnerships with local universities, like the Open University equivalent of Spain, which is very much based in the local community. So they are also willing to help in any way they can. And also we are one of the national research team, the Spanish national research team on renewable energy communities. We are part of that group under the COMETS program, which is a Horizon 2020 initiative. So we've been working with academic, the municipality, and also Horizon 2020 initiatives where possible to improve this, to get to where we want to. And in terms of investment, the solar PV system itself is not very expensive. It's about 30,000 euros. But because this is a pioneering sort of project for us, for the community, and these projects haven't been done before, we would need some other grant funding to do the initial coordination of the project. So setting up the consumer stock ownership plan would be one, peer-to-peer trading, and so on. So as it's early stage, we can't say exactly how the shareholder makeup will happen, but potential shareholders would definitely include the municipalities, the households, and the businesses in the local area, and some larger local businesses that we have also had conversations with and have shown quite a lot of interest to really help the community as well. And can they contribute with investment funds? The municipality, most probably not, because these municipalities have very little resources. But they are very, very willing to provide support and lend the roof and also become consumers. As at the moment, there are no subsidies that are available in Spain for these sort of projects, but things probably will change. The regulatory makeup at the moment in Spain is really guided by the EU directives that came through in 2018 and 2019. Following on from that, there have been 3 royal decrees that have come through, which have defined the community energy sharing and energy, define the concepts. But in terms of peer-to-peer trading, it's currently not allowed. But where there has been some progress is in the latest Royal Decree 23/2020. The law established regulatory sandboxes, which is they give exemptions if these projects are considered to be research and innovation projects and have some funding from EU level or national level calls, and that they are pilot scale projects, so small scale projects. So we are looking at that angle to see how we can do this peer-to-peer trading type project.
If you could sum up?
Yeah, this is the last slide. The main aims of the project are really fostering community cohesion. The Vega de Valcarce, like many of these communities, are really struggling with the loss of community, people leaving because of opportunities. So the local people are very conscious of it, and they want something that brings the community together. So even more than the energy savings and so on, it's really that is driving these projects. And of course, for the long-term success of the project, it needs to offer a tangible service. And that's where the energy savings and the return to shareholders within the renewable energy community is important. In terms of saving, our desktop studies suggest that whereas the retail price of the variable energy is around 17 to 21 cents per kilowatt hour, the rooftop PV projects could provide at 10 cents per kilowatt hour. And the return on investment for the renewable energy community could be around 10 to 12%. So these are not insignificant, and therefore we feel that these projects, if the regulatory environment can be managed, can be long-term successful projects. Of course, they are renewable energy, so we really are keen on the environmental sustainability of these projects, and very hopeful that this can have a, not hopeful, actually it will have a significant effect if we can then replicate and scale up these projects across the community. So that's where the fostering capacity building and research and innovation comes in, because these are projects that we can replicate once we start at the pilot scale. So that's a very brief introduction to the project. I hope you found it interesting, and if you have any questions, feel free to get in touch, and also please feel free to get in touch to collaborate. We would love to hear from you. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Jayesh. Yes, so now we heard from Vega de Valcarce, quite a small municipality in Spain. And before we get the chance to ask you some questions, we'll hear from another small municipality who might be, let's say, comparable to your case, and that is Magliano Alpi in Italy. And if you stop sharing, Jayesh, then...
Here we are.
Then we can give Sergio Olivero the opportunity to share his screen and to present to us the case of Magliano Alpi.
Okay, thank you very much. Oh, sorry, I had just the video. Just a moment, I'm sharing the screen. And okay. Can you see it now?
Yes, we see it. Thank you.
Well, the renewable energy community of Magliano Alpi was created in December 2020 and was officially presented on March the 12th this year. I am the president of the scientific committee of the renewable energy community. Magliano Alpi is a municipality of 2,000 inhabitants. The municipality is an area of 32 square kilometers, and its territory ranges from 400 meters to 2,000 meters, so there's a mountain area or two. The renewable energy community, as I said, was created in December 2020, is a non-profit entity, so it is fully operational. It is compliant to the Italian law that early adopted the European RED II directive. This happened in February 2020, the early adoption. So incentives are available, 110 euro per megawatt hour of self-consumed energy. The community is based on the open and voluntary participation of citizens, small and medium enterprises, and the city of Magliano Alpi, that is also the leader of the renewable energy community. According to the Italian law, it is a private body, no-profit private body, with both public and private partners. That is an innovative public-private partnership. It is very useful for the sake of making procedures more quicker and easier. It is powered by a digital platform, Energy for Com. This is relevant because this is an innovative startup that was born in February this year, and it is a cooperative, and the idea is to make infrastructure available and support for energy communities at local level according to a cooperative philosophy. Clearly, there's a strategic objective by the energy community to use energy as a catalyst for local sustainable development. This is the website. Today it is in Italian. We are going to translate it in English. You can also find on the website the list of bodies participating in the event that explained that the first Italian renewable energy community was born on March the 12th. Some figures. The first track is the one I just talked about, Energy City Hall is its name. In the first half of this year, 3 other renewable energy communities are scheduled. The number is a result of a constraint. In Italy today, you can create a renewable energy community only if you stay within the area of the same medium voltage, low voltage substation. That's why in Mariano Alpi, other 3 renewable energy community are scheduled. Energy porting center that is promoted and led by the city, and other 2 RECs that are promoted and led by private companies and citizens. With reference to the overall system by the 4 RECs, we have an investment by the city this year of 120,000 euro. Please note that 100,000 euro is a support by the national government in Italy today, and this support will last till 2024. That is, the municipality is going to get 400,000 euro for renewable energy community, plus this year, plus 20,000 euro by a local bank foundation. This was a call that was won last week. Total investment to this year, 200,000 euro. Number of pods, 150. And the allocation of economic benefits among partners is on one side, according to contracts in compliance with Italian law. Clearly, how we share the benefit. So using the platform Energy for Com, it is an IoT digital platform, we can measure who is using energy when, so that we can give incentives to those who are more virtuous, we can say. Other figures, renewable sources are photovoltaic on roofs. We have a estimated generation potential overall 200 kilowatt. There's no storage at the moment. In the second half of this year, we will also test a residential hydrogen generator. All point of deliveries of the community have smart meters installed, providing information, typically 5 minutes load profile available. There's no heating or cooling. There are synergies with building retrofit because of the fiscal bonuses by the national government. The incentives on self-consumption are 110 euro per megawatt hour of self-consumed energy. The regulatory issues, the early adoption of RED II directive. Clearly, citizens are involved, and concerning measures against energy poverty, please note that profit margins by the city-led RECs, the REC 1 and REC 2, will be entirely devoted to reducing bills for poor people and to services for the citizen. So, there are 5 stages to create a renewable energy community. Clearly, we need a vision, and the vision is the one of the energy center of the Politecnico di Torino. You can find it on our website. The stages are design, governance, implementation, management, and replication. Design, it's clear to academical body. Typically, there are a lot of skilled people capable of design. Concerning governance is a bit more difficult in the sense that you need a fruitful synergy with functionaries, with civil servants, so it's necessary to be compliant with the law, and this is really a challenge. The implementation and the management. The management is a key. The symbol you can see above the management is a screenshot of the platform that is currently managing the energy community, and then obviously replication. The 2021 program, please note that already 8 cities asked Mariano Alpi support to create a new renewable energy community, and 4 of them are outside Piedmont. They are in Tuscany, they are in central Italy. This is really important because it testifies that the city of Mariano Alpi can act as a replication capacity, and this paves the way to simplifying the life of those cities wanting to create renewable energy communities. The management, as I said, is made by an Internet of Things, IoT digital platform. I'm not going to bother you on what is written here. It's just here the slides are available, but just to say that there are several relevant issues to be dealt with. This is the replication model. We have in Mariano Alpi, we have a cooperative model. That is, Energy for Com is a cooperative. The cooperative, there are several local designers, local persons, designers, installers, maintenance companies, and so on. So a community operational team, COT, was created. The COT is a partner of Energy for Com, and the RECs themselves are part of Energy for Com, so that we have practically a cooperative approach emphasizing the potential of local supply chains. There are other contexts where cooperatives are created, for example, in Tuscany, or another example is the one of the Comunità Collinare del Friuli in northeastern Italy, where with whom the Energy Center of the Politecnico di Torino is a contract to help them creating a community operational team inside their organization. But the philosophy is that if we share the platform, when the Directive 944 on cities and energy communities will be adopted, practically speaking, we will have opportunity of clustering and creating links among different RECs at national level, practically creating nationwide, in Italy, nationwide virtual utility that will also be capable of providing services and, for example, for demand response or to balance the network. There are several partnerships, there are active partnerships. ERIGRID was a call by laboratories in Europe, and the energy community of Mariano Alpi applied, and we won at the beginning of the year, and we are going to cooperate starting from May with laboratories of PET10 of the JRC of the European Commission in the Netherlands. Then we have an active cooperation with ENEA, the National Agency for Energy in Italy, on blockchain. Obviously, a strict cooperation with the Energy Center of the Politecnico di Torino, who wrote the manifesto, and clearly we are making research in Mariano. Fondazione CRC is a bank foundation who gave support for the second renewable energy community in Mariano. Then a close cooperation with Energy for Com for the development of the IoT platform and for cooperative business model. And also we are starting cooperation with the city of Essen in Germany. The governance of the REC is made by the mayor of Mariano Alpi, Mr. Marco Bailo, who is also the president. Then myself, I am the president of the scientific committee, and Luca Barbero is the coordinator of the community operational team that is practically the engine working to make the renewable energy community work. In a nutshell, energy transition is one of the key enablers of economic recovery in the post-COVID phase. Through renewable energy communities, revenues and profit margins can be shared with local community to create jobs and promote innovative business models where local communities are at the center. The European Clean Energy Package emphasized the role of citizens for local sustainable development, and the renewable energy community are the key, the catalyst for this process. So thank you for inviting me to present Mariano Alpi's renewable energy community. clearly, I will be glad to answer your question and provide information if needed.
Thanks so much, Sergio. That was really informative and really a great example of how renewable energies can work once the legislation and everything is in place and it's possible. Are there any questions now from you, from the audience, or to Vega de Valcarce and Mariano Alpi, of course? And welcome, Mr. Lovic.
Good morning, yes.
I'm sorry for the delay. My internet was completely out of order for the last hour, and I just managed to get back online. So I'm really I'm sorry for the enormous delay, but I'm here now, of course. I would have a quick question to Mariano Alpi. You mentioned the REC model, and I think in our discussions we were speaking about the idea to group various small renewable energy communities under the roof of a larger entity. Could you say something about those plans?
Yes, I can. Sorry, I can share the screen in order to show you the slide. Well, so here, sorry, condividere. Okay. So can you see the screen now?
Mm-hmm.
So this is, if I well understand, it is what you are asking for. That is, practically we are creating, now we have created this cooperative at the local level in Magliano, but it's not an independent cooperative. It's a cooperative that shares the platform, that is a cooperative itself. Then there are other 10 cities that are going to adopt the same approach. And in northeastern Italy, in Friuli Venezia Giulia, the Comunità Collinare del Friuli, there are 15 municipalities for 50,000 inhabitants, are going to create a COT that will also rely upon the shared energy for home platform. So this will, today in Italy, it's possible to create renewable energy communities that are limited by the range of the low medium voltage substation. But with Directive 944, the trend is to make a cooperation among RECs available at national level independently of geographical location. That's why we do believe that a shared IoT platform built according to a cooperative model is the right way, one of the right ways to, okay, say, start from the bottom and to include a capacity creating also a service providing ability when the law in Italy has adopted the Citizen Energy Community Directive.
Sergio, very interesting presentation. The COT provides services to all of these renewable energy communities. How does that interaction work? Just want to understand. And,
well,
and is that structure based on this fact that you have to be on the low voltage grids? Is that why you have several renewable energy communities? And I just want to understand that as well.
So at local level today, you need to stay within the scope and within the range of the low medium voltage substation. For example, in Magliano, there are 13 substations. So theoretically speaking, up to 13 RECs are possible. It's likely at the end of the year, this limitation will fall. So in Mariano Alpi, we will create just one REX. There's no reason to create several of them. But practically, our idea is to, since in Italy today, there is a lot of money for retrofitting, for energy transition, for renewable energy communities. It makes no sense asking money to people. Crowdfunding is something ethically interesting, but practically speaking, money is available by the government, both for private and public entities. So what we need is to create a mechanism that is attractive for local designer, installing companies, maintenance companies, and so on, so that the renewable energy community is not perceived as an invader, but is a catalyst for development. That's why the COT are made by local companies and designers and professionals who see the REC as a way to improve and enhance their business. I make you an example. In Italy, if you put a solar roof, you get 50% back by fiscal incentives, but you have to pay the rest. But if those roofs enter into an energy community, a renewable energy community, he has the right to get 110 euros per megawatt hour of self-consumed energy for 20 years. That is, it is able to pay the remaining 50% in 6 to 7 years and to get money for the remaining 13. So this is a market booster, but at the same time, only the COT that are capable of managing the renewable energy community can propose to the owner of a roof to enter the renewable energy community. So practically speaking, these create, how can I say, virtuous cartels, virtuous local supply chains. Since companies and entrepreneurs and professionals understand this potential, they are themselves marketing capacity diffused on the territory. While there are other large companies in Italy that are trying to propose initiative, I can say top-down, and this means that there are long supply chains. You have to consider that thanks to the incentivization schemes in Italy today, this process have a profit margin up to 25%. So if you let the 25% stay on the territory, that is via the COT, you give a great advantage also in the post-COVID stage. If you adopt an approach by large companies with subcontractors, long subcontracting chains, clearly a large part of profit margins are used along the supply chain. And that's why we think that this cooperative bottom-up approach can be disruptive in terms of putting the citizen at the center.
Thank you.
Maybe just comparing to that, Jayesh, you said there are no further subsidies available in your case right now that could apply to your case?
At the moment, we are not aware of any subsidies, but there has been expressions of interest that have been submitted by the Ministry of Energy in Spain to find out about renewable energy community needs, but they are still planning.
Okay, great. And I don't know, Anna-Rita, yeah, if you wanted to.
I'm sorry. Thank you for your comprehension. Maybe I can add something that I was adding in the when João Dinis present Cascais. So in Portugal, we have already grid tariffs defined. So we can use public grid to share the energy that is to share the energy that will be produced in a self-consumption, in the collective self-consumption system, or in a local energy community. And we can use that grid, and the tariffs are defined. So if you if you have a community only in low voltage, you use only the low voltage grid. And so the regulator, our energy regulator, settle grid tariffs for only for sharing energy in low voltage. Yesterday, Jan asked me how much was the reduction. I couldn't tell, but I made my counts, and the reduction it's about 20%. So if when we consume in our houses, for when we consume, we pay higher voltage, medium voltage, low voltage, and we pay all this tariff. When we share energy produce, when we share the production of a PV system, it's inside energy community or a collective self-consumption system, we only will use low voltage. So, and we have these tariffs already settled by the regulator. But we have lots of problems. One of the problems is that, or maybe it's not a problem, but for us is, the director of energy they are seeing case by case, project by project. I believe it's because we are in the beginning, but this is a problem because we are well, they don't have we don't have a rule for to define what is approximately in Portugal. So it's not like in Italy, it's not like in Spain, it's case by case. And then other problem that the colleague from Doubrava said, it's very difficult to become a retailer or a supplier. Yes, it is like in Portugal. It's very difficult to become a retailer. Portugal, it's the first energy cooperative to become a retailer for the whole country, and it's really difficult for models like cooperatives to become a supplier or retailer in Portugal. So this is just some thoughts that I put on the paper. Thank you.
Anna, sorry, just a quick question, because you mentioned in the beginning about the grid fees. So do you have an idea of what the reduction, in percentage is? Is it symbolic?
Sorry, it's 20%.
20%. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. If we have maybe one last question or comment, I think otherwise we should go into a short break again before we will come back to listen to the cases of Endona and Słupsk. Okay, great. Then I suggest, if that's fine with you, we go a little bit into a shorter break than foreseen of 10 minutes and meet here again 10 to 12.
Excuse me, just to tell you, I have to join another webinar where I have to talk. So if in case there are questions, I will be pleased to answer. Please send them via email and clearly. Sorry, because today is really a very dense day. It seems that every project concentrated.
25th, just a good day before Easter.
Yeah.
And Sergio, I will be in touch with you later in the afternoon, if possible.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'll write you a message and then we have a word bilaterally.
Okay, if you can after 4 p.m.
That's good. That's good for me as well. Okay. Very well.
Goodbye.
And thank you very much for the presentation. Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
See you in a few minutes after the break.
Thank you. See you.
Great to see you back. So next on our agenda is Endona in Heden in the Netherlands. another case that I think most of you are not yet familiar with. So without any further introduction, Edward, I think you'll give us the presentation on Endona.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you for this opportunity to present Endona in Hayten. I will share the screen. Let's see. Okay, hopefully you can all see the screen now, the presentation.
Yes.
Yes, okay. So, indeed, Endona is an energy cooperative located in the little village of Hayten. Hayten is part of the municipality of Raalte. Hayten itself has about 3,500 inhabitants. Raalte is about 30,000. Here you see a picture of our solar fields. This is the first one that we own. And in the background, you see the village of Hayten. As you can also see, it's the Netherlands, so it's clearly see that it's very flat. I think the altitude differences is about 2 meters. Also a small picture of the board of directors of the cooperative with me in the red shirt. The energy park Hayten. That's the first we have. It's a solar field of more than 7,000 solar panels, south orientation. It's now in production for a little bit more than 2 years, but the preparation started about 7 years ago. We were the first initiative in the municipality of Raalte to do something like this. So it took some time, a lot of discussions with the municipality before we could start. So 2 years ago, the solar field was opened and we could start production. We now produce about 2.3 gigawatts per year, which is enough for about 600 households. The village of Hayten has about 1,500 households, maybe a little bit more. So this is about 30 to 40% sufficient for the households. It's 100% owned by the cooperative, which is a little bit special. Most of the solar fields in the Netherlands are either by commercial developers or co-owned by commercial and cooperatives, but this one is 100% of ourselves. We did an investment of about 2 million. 90% is a mortgage loan from the energy funds Overijssel. Overijssel is the province of Overijssel, so it's the local government who has a fund to give loans for these type of initiatives with, well, a very interesting rate. 10% is financed by local residents. What we did we gave out bonds of about 250 euros, so everybody can join, and we give a fixed rate on those bonds depending on the duration of the bond, between 3 and 4%. If the bond owner is also a customer of Endona Energy, then they give 0.5% more. So this is the main way to get the profits back into the local community, and so that all residents can share some profits of the solar park. Due to regulations, we are obliged to sell our electricity via the grid. We cannot do any peer-to-peer consumption or sharing. Those kind of legislation is not in place in the Netherlands yet. So we have to sell everything through the grid. Luckily, we do that through a energy supplier called Energie van ons, energy of us, translated. And that's also a cooperative energy supplier owned by a lot of local energy cooperatives in the Netherlands. So that's also a non-profit organization. They have all the permits in place to be an energy supplier. So a lot of worries of becoming an energy supplying are taken away by Energie van Ons. In the Netherlands, we have the system of SDE subsidy, which means that we have a guaranteed electricity price of about, in our case, about 10 cents per kilowatt hour. That's guaranteed for the whole period we operate the solar field, which is a maximum of 25 years. And it's very important to have a solid business case so that you're able to develop these kind of fields and get the loans to invest. Profits we make, we use them for development of new installations, and we use it to fund local initiatives, community initiatives. For example, we support a community center where local people can meet. We support a local food cooperative. So all kind of initiatives are being supported by the profits from this park. Besides that, we also have a lot of innovative activities. This month we started a pilot with Tennet, owner of the Dutch high voltage grid, to be a backup to balance the grid. So what we did, we've placed a 1 megawatt battery set in the solar field, so that you can switch on and off very quickly to the grid and help balance the grid. This project is meant to try to find out how that works, how we have to steer the batteries, and how we can join Tennet with balancing the grid. We did another innovative activity, which was called GridFlex, that was finished last year. That was the setup of a local grid in the village of Heten, and try to see if we can balance the production of energy by solar panels on the houses and the usage of energy by the households. Try to see if we can balance that by using batteries. And in that way, balancing the local grid behind the local transformer. And there was a project together with Nexis, which is the local grid owner. And they are very interested in balancing the grid because they can size the grid smaller if it's very much balanced. For that project, we used what we call an experimenteerregeling, so an exemption of the Dutch electricity law to be able to do these kinds of experiments on the local low voltage grid. We do not stop here. We have a new PV installations in preparation now. A new energy park will be opened by the end of this year. Slightly more than 6,000 panels, almost 3 gigawatts per year, also 100% owned by the cooperative. And again, 90% mortgage loan, 10% bonds by residents. So also the local residents there can profit from this park. We're now in the final stage of realization. We do the final negotiations with the builder, and hopefully we'll start in 2-3 months time with building the park. Another initiative is also in the municipality of Raalte, which is a bigger one. And that's very interesting because we do that together with a commercial developer. In total, it's about 16 gigawatts per year. And we're going to split that up technically and also legal, so that we end up with half of that solar field, but 100% owned. Why do we split it up also legal? It's very difficult to have one legal entity co-owned by a cooperative and a commercial developer. Commercial developers have a totally different interests, look at things totally different than cooperatives do. So our experience is that no one, we don't want, but also commercial developer want a 50-50 share in a legal entity. So that's why the reason why we going to split it up technically and also legal. The status of that one is that we are awaiting the subsidy decision. So when that's done, then we can go on and develop that further. What are the challenges that we are facing in the Netherlands and in Hayten? One of the biggest obstacles of expansion is finding suitable locations. We call it the NIMBY issues, not in my backyard. Almost all residents, if you ask, they are all for sustainability, for more solar energy, wind energy, etc. But when you ask them, okay, I'm going to do something in your neighborhood, next to your house, then you have a problem. So that's a challenge. There are severe limitations on connecting to the grid. The grid is almost full. So if you plan to do an initiative, you have to get in touch with the grid owner very soon and reserve a connection to the grid, but almost all available space is already reserved. Dutch government has set a goal of at least 50% local ownerships by cooperatives, and it's good, it's nice, but as already told, how to organize that legally. 50%, 50-50 share in a legal entity by commercial investors and a local cooperative is almost impossible. Another one is strict regulations for the integration of the solar fields within the environment. Of course, you don't want to harm the environment and the nature around too much, so you want to do something to improve nature and, do some things there. But the subsidies that are available are only for the technical installation and not for integration. And the subsidy is lower each year. As I said in the previous slide, for the solar park in Hayten, we get a guaranteed price of about 10 cents per kilowatt hour. The subsidy level now, this year, is about half. And for small solar parks up to, the size we have, that's too low. It's economically not viable anymore. Also, what's very interesting, and that's why I find this workshop so interesting, I see here a lot of municipalities are present in this workshop. In the Netherlands, it's the local initiatives who have to take the initiative and go to the residents and explain that they want something. The municipality is not doing very much in that process. So we're discussing with our local municipality, how are we going to do that? Because it's the goal we have, the sustainability goal is a common goal for the whole country and also for the municipality. So we have to go together and confront the residents with the initiatives we want to do and how are we going to do it. So we have to grow and learn there. Also, what is a challenge is, well, we started as a small cooperative, started by volunteers. But as you see, we have a lot of ambition. We want to grow. How do you do that? How do you grow and become more professional, but still maintain the character of a local organization run by volunteers and still be seated inside the community and not be seen like any other commercial organization? Yeah, this is about it.
Thanks a lot. Great. Really interesting. This is probably one of the biggest projects that we heard of today. And I think this is also a good chance for us now to switch to the last presentation of today by Piotr in Słupsk. Słupsk is also an example of with a bigger project size. And thank you to Piotr for presenting to us the Słupsk case. You're still muted, but yeah. Yeah, I think if you unmute yourself, and then also in the bar below, it should be share screen.
Wait a moment. I will try to share the screen.
Perfect.
Can you tell me if my presentation is visible?
Yes, if you switch to presentation mode, if that's possible.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, perfect.
That's it.
So I will start. I represent Wodociągi Słupsk, which is the company responsible for the water and sewage in the city of Słupsk, which is the city in north of Poland. And also we are the leader of Słupsk Bioenergy Cluster, which is operating since 2017 and was distinguished by our authority to the top 10 best pilot clusters. And one of the initiative was Słupsk Bioenergy Island. Could you tell me if I am visible?
Yeah, we see the identification of stakeholders.
Yeah. Because I have something wrong with internet, so I will continue. This is the general look of our bioenergy cluster, in which Wodociągi Słupsk is a leader, and we have about 20 local entrepreneurs and the city of Słupsk as signatories of the agreement. And here you could see stakeholders of that project. Of course, there are local producers. We plan energy community. DSO is operator of our grid. This is Energa company. Of course, energy market, local government, small, medium enterprises, I mean local industry, renewable energy sources, trustee. I told you about that in the next slides. End customers, local DSO, which we plan, emission-free public transport, and of course, research and development. This is a scheme of our project, which shows you what is planned and what money will be engaged in that. So these are three parts. First, this is associated infrastructure, which consists of energy storage, DSO distribution networks. I mean, we will make a distribution network which will be parallel to the professional energy network, and zero emission transport e-mobility. We think that it will be about 7 million euro. The second part is a new generation sources of renewable energy sources and CHP, so generator of heat and power, and it will cost about 9 million euros. And the third part, this is additional part, which means energy balancing software, R&D projects, new competencies, and energy services for about 1.5 million euro. So everything totally, we plan for about 17.5 million euro. And this is a slide which I like the best because it shows how it will be looks like. So our project, we call it Green Energy Island, consists of many elements. And now we just started with building the cable, 15 kilovolts cable, and the pipe with the heat water, which will connect our objects, in which we have generators which works with biogas, and this object exists just now and producing energy only for us. But under construction, we have this line, this red line, which will connect our object with aqua park 3 waves. This is municipality aqua park. And after finishing that project, whole the capacity of energy will be used by our objects and the aqua park of 3 waves, and it will be peer-to-peer trading. And this is a part which is built with the money from European Union given by RPO program, which is ruled by our voivodeships of Pomorskie. The second part of that program is the cable, which will connect base of our company, Wodociągi, with our object with generator, and it will improve our efficiency. And this is the first part of this big project of Green Energy Island. We would like to start with that, and we plan that at the end of the year, we will send first energy to the aqua park 3 waves. But the second part of that idea of that project is to build a new electricity network, I mean middle voltage network. These are these red lines here. And this network will connect customers in the special economic area in Słupsk. These are these yellow points. Of course, they function now. So they are connected to the Energa network, but it will be a parallel network which will work independently from this network of Energa company. So the effect will be that, for example, the consumer like here will be connected to the 2 networks. This professional network of Energa company and our network. So finally, we will be operator of the distribution network, which will be parallel to the professional network. We have consumers who are producers too. Here are the wind farms, and we have areas. These are these colorful parts of the map. And in these areas, we plan to build photovoltaic farms, which will be connected to our local distribution network. And besides, we plan to cooperate with ENGIE company, which is international company, but in Słupsk, they are responsible for producing heat and giving heat to the society. And they will build in our object, in base of our company, they will build generator CHP, which will be producing energy from gas. So whole project currently it has about 40 gigawatt hours per year of production, I mean, this is summary from wind farms and our production from biogas. And our demand for now it's about 43 gigawatt hours per year. I mean, how this end users and our objects of wodociągi. But the potential is much bigger, and finally it could be even 100 gigawatt hours per year. So in fact, this production and demand will be totally balanced. But of course, because these are renewable sources, it could be very difficult to balance in some hours of the day. So we plan kind of storage of energy here in the central point of our network. Okay, so here is a scheme which I know that this is slightly complicated, but it shows what kind of initiatives could be gathered in the Słupsk bioenergy island. First, this is the project of Energy for Industry, in which energy production in PV farms will be sent to the customers in special economic area. The second part of the project, in fact, these 5 elements could work independently. So realizing of one of them could be independent from the others. Second part is energy for local government. It gathers the objects of Słupsk local government. The third part is energy for people. It's here. This is very interesting because this is kind of society of energy. We mean that about 200 of families of end users could be gathered and take share in this production of PV farms, which will have 2.5 megawatt peaks. And the fourth element is energy for environment. We do it as a company for ourselves, and there will be about 15 micro installation of photovoltaics. So it will be totally green energy. And of course, it will be energy produced from biogas in our purification system. And in the central point of that system is energy for cluster, because Słupsk Bioenergy Island will be responsible for managing of that systems and that initiatives, and will be responsible for balancing, trading, energy efficiency, DSR, and other products of the energy market. And of course, it will be responsible for the connection with DSO and another local DSO ruled by ENGIE.
Okay, if you could maybe wrap it up.
I'm sorry, could you repeat?
Maybe one or two more minutes?
You need a break?
No, I don't. No, not a break. If you could maybe finish in 1 or 2 minutes.
Ah, okay, okay. This is the last slide, which shows business model which we would like to implement, because for now our local energy law don't allow to make a society of energy, but we would like to plan it, because we hope that in the half of the year, our government will implement of RED2, and we think that this could allow us to make it realize. So here is the central point of that scheme, Słupsk Bioenergy Island, which manage all of these energy initiatives, and here is the initiative gathered by the trustee, which is agency of developing of our region, and it gathered business prosumers, and only this trustee will contact with the Słupsk Bioenergy Island, and also the same is here, but this is for the local people, local families. I mean about 200 families which will take share in the production of these photovoltaic farms. And during the trustee, which will be a local administrative of the flats, they will contact with the central point, I mean Słupsk Bioenergy Island. And of course, there are another parts of this program like business prosumers, sport recreation, health, e-mobility. Whole of this little initiative makes this bigger program with the name Słupsk Bioenergy Island, which is made in the Słupsk cluster of energy. So generally, the Słupsk Bioenergy Island is a kind of platform for very many energy initiative, and it is with the background of this local network, which will be built next year. So thank you for attention.
Thank you very much. I think that was really interesting from this business sector perspective also, and a really much bigger perspective than some of the other projects that we've heard so far. Are there any questions or comments on the last two presentations on Endona and the Wolochong in Słupsk that we just heard?
Maybe a quick question to Piotr. Do you have any problems with resistance from citizens with regard to the planned solar parks? Because we heard from Edward that there's a lot of not in my backyard resistance against the solar parks. What about Słupsk?
Yeah, we don't have any problems with our city and local government, because it's our common initiative. But we think it could be a problem with connected to the professional power grid, and we have to talk about that. So I think the same is with building this local distribution network. So I mean that could be problem from technical point of view, because there are very big there is a very big power, and I think they could afraid of balancing of that system. So that's why we would like to use this storage of energy. And the second storage is a storage of biogas, which is about 7,000 cubic meters. So I think it will be very helpful in balancing that system.
And maybe a remark, just a comment for the others who don't know the situation in Poland. Obviously, you know, the possibilities that Słupsk has to create an own electricity network is rather the exception. In many other countries, this wouldn't be possible.
I think so. I think it will be first network in Poland. I mean, parallel network to the professional network. So I think there will be very many problems on our way, but we would like to do that.
Mm-hmm. And of course, there's a government program that supports this. Maybe you could say a few words about the institutional support.
Yeah, we hope that we will have a national program which calls Krajowy Program Odbudowy, and we would like to gain in that program, which gives us money for building that network with all the elements, and it is connected with European money, of course. It is creating just now, and I hope after implementing the RED2 directive, it will start in the second half of this year, I hope.
Anna Rita, you raised your hand?
Yes, I would like to ask something about the parallel grid or parallel cables.
Yes.
Because in Portugal we are having a very big discussion about the grid and the parallel grids that could appear because of these local communities of energy, and the regulator and the government are very concerned that people can stay away from the national grid and don't pay the tariffs, and then in the end of the day, who is going to pay the grid, the national grid? And this is a very big discussion that I think the DSOs and TSOs are discussing, and I think we should, all of us should discuss more about that. I don't have an opinion, but I think it's a very big concern. So who is going to pay the grid in the end of the day? If we start to build parallel grids in our communities, how you're going to handle with that? Thank you.
Yeah, I know that this is a very big problem, and it will make a very big discuss. It's very complicated because, of course, there is a problem with tariffs, but if it will be very massive, of course, it would increase the tariffs for the energy network. But another problem from the another point of view, if we don't do anything, if we don't build the parallel network like this, typical network, I mean professional network, couldn't develop so fast that it could give the opportunity for developing. So these are two things which are on opposite sides. First, typical professional network couldn't develop so fast as it is needed for the industry. And the second part, from the second part of view, is that building a new parallel network could make a problem with the tariffs. But of course, I think there is a point of searching the point of balance between these two cases. So in the first cases, like ours, it will be not a problem of the tariff, and it will give a help to professional network. But of course, it must be very good organized from the balancing point of view. But of course, this is a problem not only in Poland. I think this is a problem in every country in Europe.
Thank you for this. It's now 12:30. I don't want to keep you much longer than we already did. I don't know if there are any last questions or comments from you. Otherwise, yeah, Jayesh?
Yeah, I was having had a question for Edward on the Netherlands experience on the current compensation for the cooperatives that you have. My understanding is that I don't know whether I understood correctly, but SDE++, does that represent some sort of feed-in tariff? Is that how you're getting paid for your energy at the moment?
Exactly, it's a guaranteed price. So we get the normal commercial price, which at this moment is about 3 or 4 cents. And on top of that, we get a guaranteed price so that we are able to build a solid business case.
Right. So on that basis, I guess these guaranteed prices are limited by a number of years. So I guess the older projects, they may come to an end in the next, what, 15 years or so? Is that? And my question on that was, once those schemes come to an end, how would you then transition? I guess, are you looking for some sort of peer-to-peer trading model once these support schemes end?
Maybe in the future we are able to do peer-to-peer. At this moment, we cannot. The idea we have now is the SDE subsidy is for 15 years. And also our financing is based on 15 years. So after 15 years, we've paid off the solar field. And then it's much easier with commercial prices to have a positive exploitation of the solar field.
Right.
Maybe one question also to Edward. Can you imagine that the municipalities around Srytr would take a role similar to that of Słupsk in terms of, moving forward with these projects? Because I see there's really an asymmetry. While in Srytr, it seems to be a private initiative, and it seems to be difficult to engage with the municipalities. In Słupsk, it's exactly the other way around.
Hopefully, I'm trying to push them to do that, but they are very hesitant to do that, even more than other municipalities in the area, because we have some nice examples in the Netherlands where a municipality is taking the initiative together with residents to set up something we have. So I really would like to cooperate. But at this moment, with the people we have now in the municipality, it's a bit difficult. But maybe it will come.
So, Edward, I thought in Netherlands, there was also this regulatory sandboxing idea where you can get regulatory exemptions to do certain, is that being used by any communities or cooperatives to pilot these sort of peer-to-peer type approaches?
Yes, there is. We have such an exemption, but to be able to use it, that's very complex, because if you do peer-to-peer, then you also have to make sure that there is electricity always. And we only have a solar field, so that will be difficult in the winter. So if we want to do that, we are also obliged to get electricity from elsewhere when we don't have enough. And it makes it very complex for a volunteer organization like we are. But we used it for the GridFlex experiment.
Mm-hmm. And one general question maybe to the projects that are still present. The considerations of grid fees for energy and electricity sharing. We've learned that only in Portugal we actually know what the reductions will be. Maybe, I don't know, I don't remember if Sergio has mentioned it, but in Italy, actually, the reduction is purely symbolic. It's around 1% or something. So it doesn't really at the moment, but they are still discussing whether this will be changed. Is this a consideration? I mean, do your projects depend, amongst others, also on what will be the fees for using the public grid, or is this of no importance to your planning?
At the moment, under the Spanish legislation, there is no grid fee that the renewable energy community would be charged. If the renewable energy community provided some energy, the benefit to the community would be elimination of the variable cost. And on that, although I said there is no subsidy from the government, one benefit that the consumers would get is, and the renewable energy community as well, the two will share, is that energy that the energy community produces attracts no taxes. So the energy you buy from the grid attracts a VAT and another tax. So it adds to about 26% of the price. That's not payable for the renewable energy community energy.
But you're saying in Spain it would be completely exempted from grid fees? Or is it, I think it's simply not known yet what the, no, right?
Yeah, it's not, they haven't said there will be any charges at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Because I think it's very unlikely that it will be entirely exempted. Probably there will be some sort of reduction. As I said, you know, in Portugal, this is one of the first countries where I've heard it's 20% reduction, but in many countries, actually, the policymakers are reluctant to give any exemption. So they say, well, you're using the grid, so you have to pay for it. And it doesn't matter whether it's 500 kilometers or 500 meters, it's all the same. And that's a big obstacle, because many projects are actually waiting, because they say, if we want to do the peer-to-peer marketing, and if we want to tap into the potential of the complementarity of the load profiles, which we also do in our Essen project, where we are actually not using the public grid. That's why we're advancing with it. Then they say, depending on what the grid fees will be, this will have a large impact on the economies of the projects.
For community self-consumption at the moment, there is no grid fee, but peer-to-peer is not defined under the current legislation.
Yeah, I remember we discussed that. Mm.
Yeah, and it may be, you're right, maybe in the future when these projects become more established, they might start bringing these, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Just to add, we have to be careful with the number of 20% of the reduction, because it's a
depends.
Yeah, it depends a lot. It was only an example. If you have a community or collective self-consumption in low voltage and you only use low voltage.
Yes.
When you start to use the medium voltage, of course, the reduction is not so big.
Yes.
Compare what you pay in the price of energy that you consume at home at night, for example.
Yeah,
so
Margarita,
you
I'm
have
sorry.
to be very careful with that 20% of reduction.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, of course. And maybe one remark, and this is the trend, this seems to be a trend. So we've analyzed various laws in various countries, and Austria, which seems to be a good example for this, has the same approach. So they say the grid fees will depend on the level of the voltage level. So if you stay on the low voltage level, the exemptions will be larger, but if you move to the medium voltage level, it will be less reduction. But that's at least better than the Italian case, where you are restricted to the low voltage level. And that's a big restriction, because, you know, one side in a city, especially one side of the street can be on one branch of the low voltage level and the other side of the street on the other, which would mean that they are virtually excluded to be members in the same energy community.
This would be the case in Spain, I suppose, as well. My understanding is you're restricted to the low voltage.
Mm. Well, my assessment is that in the future, this will probably fall, this limit. So governments will have to open it to the medium voltage level, because otherwise they would discriminate arbitrarily people from either joining or not joining a renewable energy community. We've discussed this with our lawyer colleagues, and a lot of them agree that this would be a discrimination, which probably will not, but, you know, this may take years. So I'm not saying this is something that's happening quickly, because you know, legislators are transposing the directive, and then they have to correct themselves. But this again will take a lot of time, so we simply don't know.
Okay, I think people are leaving. Also, thanks, Edward, for being here and for your presentation. Bye. I think that's a good point in time maybe to wrap things up. Thank you all for the presentations and for participating and for giving us really your really valuable insights and inputs into the national context. That was also really interesting for us. And I think not everything is of course replicable in the countries, but still it's good to speak to each other with the same goals and the same aims. And I think we'll be in touch with all of you on a bilateral level, but maybe I leave the last words to Mr. Lovic.
Yes, well, thank you, Marie. So I also wanted to thank all the participants and the excellent presentations. Again, please accept my apologies for my delay in joining the meeting. Certainly, we will be in touch with each of the projects bilaterally, and we're looking forward to further developing these ideas. There's, I will write to each of the projects in the next days to see when we can fix a date to discuss the further planning. And of course, in the as SCORE runs until December this year, there will be further occasions for exchange where we will invite the follower city projects also to discuss the common idea. What I found very interesting about maybe as a closing remark, that it seems that the idea of having trusteeship concepts like the CSOP could be adaptable to these various types of projects. We had very small projects, we had medium-sized projects, and we had large projects. But in order to gather very different types of co-investors, this might be a way which, of course, we would like to advocate, and we will try to give you policy support in doing so. So once again, thanks very much for this very interesting workshop, and looking forward to working with you in the very near future.
Thank you. Bye. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye for listening.
Thank you. Bye.